big stories of the year. The Yankees wrote the first one. Again, they won the American League pennant. Casey Stengel's Bombers met Eddie Sawyer's Whiz Kids, the Phils in the World Series. It was age versus youth, and age won in a 4-game sweep.
There's a certain magic to a summer night in New York City. Under the floodlights at Yankee Stadium, time seems slow in those seconds. Moments that flicker and fade almost as soon as they happen, unless you catch them. Haha, get it, baseball. Catch it. A photograph is a memory made tangible. Time stolen back from time. In a single frame, the roar of the crowd and the glow of the stadium lights. Tonight, amid the fans and the nosebleeds, and haha in the Audi box as well, with Jason Vincent and Omar Gonzalez because we're fancy. Someone lifts an old rangefinder camera to their eye. Who could that be? Oh, it's me. And in that quiet instant, a tiny piece of the 1950s lives on. This camera is a Leica M3. A legend in metal, glass, and leather. To the uninitiated, it's just an old film camera, a relic from another century. But to those who know, this is the camera that changed everything. It debuted in 1954 and caused a sensation from New York to Paris to Tokyo. The M3 was Leica's masterpiece, the first of the M series, and nothing short of revolutionary. With this little machine, Leica set a new bar for what a 35mm camera could be.
Pretty substantial balcony here this week.
Why was the M3 such a game changer? For starters, it introduced the now iconic Leica bayonet mount, the M mount. Before this, changing lenses meant screwing them off and on, slow, finicky, and not exactly ideal when life comes at you fast. The M3's bayonet mount let photographers swap out lenses in seconds. You could go from 50mm to 135, in the middle of the action, never miss a beat. For photojournalists, well, they'd have probably like 2 or 3 or 5 cameras, so they wouldn't have to switch lenses. Still nice though. That mount was so well engineered that every M mount lens that Leica has made since 1954 still fits on this M3, perfectly interlocking generations of glass to this very body. This is the Leica M3. It's a camera from 1957, at least the serial number here. It's also the single stroke version, which means I only have to advance one single time with this. The original version came double stroke, so you have to advance 2 times rather than 1. This version also comes with the updated strap lugs on the side. So I'm in New York City for a conference called Build, which is put on by B&H. And that means a lot of my friends from the YouTube space are here as well. The premiere of the F1 movie happening here in Times Square. Wow. Sydney's so excited. Look at how excited Sydney is.
George.
Then there's the viewfinder. What a nice viewfinder. The Leica M3 greeted photographers with a big bright window onto the world, far larger and clearer than anything before it. For the first time, on a rangefinder, what you saw through the viewfinder was startlingly close to what the lens saw. Leica combined the rangefinder and viewfinder into one and added bright frame lines that elegantly move as you focus, correcting for parallax error. No more guessing or lining up separate windows. You frame and you focus in one glance. The frame lines even switched for different lenses, glowing in the finder like a holographic guide. It was an ingenious solution to a long-time rangefinder problem, making composing shots, even up close, intuitive and accurate. Look through the M3 just once, and you understand why photographers fell in love. The world looks sharper, simpler, and almost within reach. The Leica M3 was a tactile joy as well. By the mid-1950s, Leica had spent decades perfecting its craft, and it shows. Advancing the film on earlier cameras meant tediously twisting a knob. The M3 introduced a single-stroke film advance lever. Well, not at first. First it was double. But this one here, single-stroke advance. The early M3s, the engineers were a little bit nervous and worried that a quick wind might tear the film, but soon they realized that this machine could handle the film speed. From then on, it was on to single stroke. The shutter itself was a cloth focal plane shutter, technically old school, but what Leica achieved with it was remarkable. Speeds up to 1/1000 of a second and nearly silent operation. No mirror slap, no thunderclap click to startle your subject, just a gentle whisper as the shutter fires. In a quiet alley or a tense moment, this camera could capture the world without announcing itself. For street photographers and documentarians, that near silence was pure gold. Gold, Jerry, gold. Gold, Jerry, gold. And the feel of it, people speak of the M3 in almost romantic terms. It wasn't just made, it was crafted. Every dial, every gear moves with exquisite smoothness, like a Swiss watch or a well-tuned engine. The body is dense brass and alloy wrapped in a black vulcanite leather, heavy in a reassuring way, steady in your hands. The design is simple, minimal, and yet unmistakably elegant. Form perfectly following function. Leica's reputation for quality was not just hype, and this German precision you could feel with each click and each advance. Leica's build quality and ergonomics were way ahead of their time. I know because I was there when this camera was released. The M3 didn't even need a battery. It was purely mechanical extension of the photographer. The result, a camera that quote unquote gets out of your way and disappears, except for it's clearly obviously in your hands and it feels really nice. But you can focus on the moment unfolding in front of you rather than being distracted by the camera, although you do have to turn dials and whatnot. Perfection and simplicity. Leica themselves advertised the M3 in 1960 with those exact words. It's no wonder the Leica M3 became the ultimate photojournalist camera of its era. This was the tool you grabbed if you were hitting the streets to find the truth or hopping on a plane to follow a story. This rangefinder right here was in the thick of it, helping shape how we saw the world. Now, one of the downsides with this camera is that there is no built-in light meter, so that means you can either use an external light meter or one mounted to your cold shoe, or you can use an app, which are surprisingly accurate. I've really had no complaints. If you're shooting something like Ektachrome or a color positive film, it might make sense to get a proper meter and make sure everything is exactly bang on. But for me out here shooting color positive film as well as black and white using my iPhone meter, I am pretty happy. And also you kind of set it, and once you're out in the world, things aren't changing too much. Maybe if you're going to go into the shade, you're going to want to add an extra stop or two. But overall, it's, I don't know, film is pretty forgiving. Morning in Manhattan. Hudson Yards is all glass and steel, a brand new skyline thrust up towards the clouds. The streets here feel different, polished, futuristic, a far cry from the old brick and stone neighborhoods. As our footsteps echo on the concrete, the old Leica feels right at home. It's documented cities through constant change, from rough-edged New York in the 70s to the shiny angles of today. The skyline might evolve, but the act of capturing light and shadows, the decisive moment, all those principles remain reassuringly the same. That's the thing about the M3. In a world obsessed with the latest and the fastest, this 70-year-old mechanical camera is still here and it's still relevant. It reminds us that sometimes progress isn't about doing something new, it's about doing something right. The M3 was built so well, so purely, that even now in the digital age, photographers still want it. They load it up with film and they trust it with their art as if nothing better has ever come along. And maybe, in some ways, nothing has. Even today, a well-kept Leica M3 can fetch a hefty price on the secondhand market, and that's because it's not going to become a dusty trophy on a collector's wall, but it's going to become a working camera ready to roam the streets again. A camera designed in the 1950s, still drawing admirers, still capturing great images on film. How many devices in our disposable world can say the same?
New York City on a sunny day in the summer. I'm gonna go take some pictures with Kodak Gold 200 now out on the street.
There's an emotional current running through all of this. This camera inspires loyalty, even love. You don't hear people talking about their old DSLR from 2005 in the same way, or a camera phone from last year. But the Leica M3, the stories it carries. The dings and the brassing and the body are the scars of adventures. The smooth wear of leather tells you how it's been held, cherished over an actual lifetime. The weight of it in your palm is the weight of the history and the human craft that it carries. You feel connected to all those that have shot with it before. There's no firmware update, no batteries, no electronics. It's just ready to get to work. The Leica M3's legacy isn't just in the photos it takes, it's in what it represents, a pinnacle of design and craftsmanship. It taught the world that a camera can be both a precision tool and an object of artful beauty. Even as photography marched on through SLRs, now digital, now into phone cameras, the M3 stands apart, sort of a North Star reminding us of the essentials: high quality, precision, and a focus on the craft of seeing and composing. Leica carried these details forward into their newer models, and indeed the digital Leica cameras of today still echo the silhouette and the spirit of the M3. But there's something uniquely satisfying about the original. Load it, wind it, listen to the click of the shutter. You're now part of something stretching back 7 decades. New York is a city of constant rebirth. Neighborhoods rise, fall, and rise again. Hudson Yards itself sprang up just a few years ago from where the old rails used to be. Yet here, amid the shine of the new, an old Leica is capturing a little bit of the city's soul. The scene might be modern, but the approach is timeless. In photography, as in life, sometimes slowing down to appreciate the moment is everything. You're not blasting through 20 frames a second on the M3. You measure, you wait, you breathe, and you click. It forces you to be present. Something that Anthony Bourdain understood well in his travels and his stories. Being present, observing deeply, savoring the experience. If you were here, or used to live here in New York City, maybe he'd compare the M3 to having that perfect bowl of soup on a noisy Hanoi street, or a late night whiskey at a half-empty bar. Simple, real moments that let you feel your senses. Shooting with the M3 is a bit like that. It's mindful, it's personal, and every frame means something, and every year it gets even more expensive to shoot film, so you better be mindful. A few blocks from here, the Highline Park hums with early morning joggers and commuters. The city keeps moving. It always does. By tonight, Yankee Stadium will roar back to life for another game. Time rolls on, indifferent. But somewhere in a quiet room, a man named Panda, his real name's Ryan, develops this film from last night's game. A moment that was here and gone, born anew, thanks to this 70-year-old camera that simply did what it was built to do. The Leica M3 is called a lot of things: classic, a legend, a jewel. There's just nothing else like it. It's more than a camera, it's a trusted companion, a witness to life's unrehearsed scenes. From 1954 to this very morning here in Hudson Yards, from the hands of war photographers to the hands of an artist chasing light through the city streets, the M3 has quietly, steadfastly been the keeper of moments. And as long as there are stories out there to tell and moments worth freezing in time, you can bet that this little Leica will be out there somewhere in the world, capturing life in all its beautiful, gritty, heartbreaking glory, one decisive moment at a time. Don't forget to smash that like button.